is me after, I think, 6 mimosas. This is me after 7 mimosas.
This is me after 2 flights of mimosas.
This is me after all the flights of mimosas. Don't talk, I'm videoing. Oh shit, she's getting on her shoulders.
Matt, this is so ungood. It's okay. It's okay.
Stop it.
For her, people prodded and pried, asking, when are you going to get laid?
That is the voice of Jeff Woods, who will be joining us a little later on in this podcast, and I'll introduce my guests in just a few moments. First, thanks to our sponsor, our partner at Retrokat Gaming. You can visit Retrokat.ca /bigkrislive and use the promo code bigkrislive, Kris with a K, to get $10 off one of these fantastic units. You can play over 8,000 games from over 15 retro classic video gaming devices. Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, original Nintendo, all on one handheld device.
Shipped from Ontario right to your door. Shop online today at Retrokat.ca or choose same-day pickup in the GTA. Retrokat.ca. Let's get nostalgic.
All right, and we get on with the broadcast. Welcome to Big Kris Live, the live stream via Facebook and Twitter and YouTube right now, and of course our podcast host, DeanBlundell.com. Thanks to them and Retrokat.ca. My guests tonight, Pete Smith and Reese Turner. Welcome to the podcast, gentlemen. Big Kris Live. We are live, babies.
Thanks for having me, man.
Buddy!
Yeah, buddy. Woo! The last time I saw Reese, he was on my doorstep delivering a Canada Pot, as in Canada Post, but Canada Pot T-shirt. And I just washed it the other day, man. It's beautiful. I still love it. Still wear it all the time.
Oh man, I'm so happy.
And your beard is way fiercer than the last time I saw you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you. It's a look I'm going for.
Yeah.
Part laziness and part depression.
Yeah, that's pandemic times, man. It's been a harsh year for, well, all sorts of body hair. Although Pete, you're looking pretty slick there, man. You're still rocking the bald look. We're similar. We're
smooth.
Yeah.
I actually I don't it was like in the making, because like literally today I was like I had like the golden horseshoe all around like fuzz, like I look like a psychiatry teacher or something, and big nasty beard, and I was like, I'm gonna shave today. I was home watching my kids, and I was like, I should probably shave. And then like literally 20 minutes later, you're like, hey, you want to be my podcast tonight? I was like, yeah, I got the look, cleaned up.
This very well may be my final podcast before we have a baby, so I'm just trying to get them underway, guys. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, yep, it's coming. It's coming. We're at the phase where the baby is like the Alien movie, just like ready to fucking burst right through. And like 10 a.m. strawberry milkshakes for breakfast. Baby gets what baby wants. It's not a problem. At Kawartha Dairy is our favorite place. Luckily, it's right around the corner. So
yeah, definitely. You're really close. My wife, the day that she wanted, or the day that we ended up delivering our first, she wanted a red slushie.
Nice.
And that was a mess that night in the hospital. And the nurse was like, oh, like had to have this red slushie, and she's puking it up. I mean, it happens.
For the younger folks or the inexperienced folks who don't know what Pete is referencing, this is something that I had to learn too when we first found out that we were pregnant. And I say we, but Lisa was pregnant. But is that somebody, and not the male, is going to shit on a table at some point of the birthing process. And I heard a story recently. I won't say who it was about, but it was certainly someone within my family circle, where the night that they gave birth, they were at a family corn roast, and they were extra hungry that night, and they had something like half a dozen cobs, and that was the table deuce.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I won't name any names. Someone in the family. So, hey, what a great way to start the broadcast. Actually, we started off with this. We started off with this clip, actually. I don't know if it's going to go downhill from here, but let's replay it again for the cheap seats.
This is me after 4 mimosas.
This is me after 8 mimosas.
This is me after 2 mimosas.
Yeah.
This is me after, I think, 6 mimosas. This is me after 7 mimosas.
This is me after 2 flights of mimosas.
They don't know that they're going to have to poop on a table
This is
one
me
day.
after all the flights of mimosas.
It looks like
I'm
the
videoing.
two dudes in the camo
Oh, shit,
like
she's
following
getting
him. This is the start of like a slasher comedy.
Here it goes.
Oh no.
What I noticed about it is like when she says she gets to like 7 mimosas, it seems like she's actually a little bit more level-headed right there.
Yeah.
It's like she's really hitting, like reality is really hitting. It's really hitting her.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is me after 7 mimosas, and then cut to 2 less teeth, and
Yeah.
fuck.
I'm blaming Kyle on this one. I don't think it was her fault. I think it was the guy with the mask, or the guy who has had her on his shoulders. He did not look stable, that young man.
No,
That
don't
gentleman.
trust Kyle.
Well, listen, you have to make a good decision off the bat, and she made the decision to get on the shoulders. So we got to question both parties on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we got another guy that I think is a real beauty. Let's take a look at this gentleman. Kyle's dad.
This guy looks like he's like a manager at like Darian Lake. he runs the campgrounds at Darian Lake.
Oh man, this guy, he's my new idol, I think.
Yeah.
This is what my hair is going to get cut into. I'm going to cut this into that, and I'll bypass the smoke to spit out. I don't even smoke anymore. I'll just buy them to spit out just to emulate this man.
So yeah, this guy has got a crazy mullet, like one that you don't even see anymore. And what was it? Yeah, a carny? No, a security guard at Darien Lake.
The campground, man. I don't know. Fuck, something at Darian Lake.
Yeah. Oh man. So I just thought that could be Kyle's dad. I don't know if they're related or not, but that's quite a duo to start off the podcast with. Poor mimosa girl, missing. It looked like more than just 2 front teeth, at least 3. There, she had.
And the couple bottom too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, like that's no way to enter your 30s. You know. You're already down. You're already down a couple of notches. You got a few strikes against you. By the time you hit that point. So, gentlemen, let's open it up a bit. Current events and whatnot. You know, it's a little crazy out there. Reese, I knew you best when you were in Montreal and doing comedy in Montreal.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you're in the GTA. But Montreal had some riots. That made some national news. I was like, oh, fuck, we're on CNN. Just great. I love it when Canada makes CNN. It's never for a good reason.
No, and it's usually Montreal, too, for doing something like this, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember the good old days when Montreal used to riot over, like, you know, hockey or Guns N' Roses. You know, like,
Yeah.
those are the good old
Very
days.
true.
Not the case. But did you see anyone you knew out there, Reese, on TV or anything?
Man, listen, I saw some people, I'm not going to say who, but I might have seen a person. I don't know.
Wow.
But like my Facebook feed was crazy today. I had people being like, "Oh, this is horrible," which it was. You don't like some businesses are getting hit hard enough. You don't need to fuck with them. Sorry for swearing if that's not allowed, but I did because I'm passionate about it.
very allowed.
Don't. Small businesses have been fucked with. Stop it. Like you want to go break stuff, go break a government building. But like they were saying, like this basically, I had some friends on Facebook being like, "Look at all the fires. That was to light everybody's way homes for the 8 o'clock curfew, just so we didn't get lost." Terrible though. It was awful.
there's part of me that's actually, I never thought I'd say this. There's part of me that actually wants an authoritarian government crackdown. You know, like I kind of want to see what happens if, you know, like out of some dystopian novel, the police are just allowed to literally arrest you for being on the street. I'm curious. There's an alternate universe that already has it like that anyways, right?
Yeah.
And they lock you up in Walmarts and stuff like that. You can stay here.
Yeah.
That's the sentence. You stay here now. Like,
See, that's where I think I'm lucky. Like I was saying before, like even with my internet, like I live in the country. So like how this whole thing is affected to me is totally different from like Reese and even you, Kris. Like, so when I hear people like locked down for 8 months, I'm like, I can't even relate to that. And like the angst you'd get from and just everything on top of everything, you know, just piling up. So for me, it's almost like you're saying, like this dystopian thing. It's like, yeah, why don't they just crack down? It's easy for me to say that because not easy. I don't think I say that, but like it's easy to think like that because I don't have that around me. You know what I mean? So it's wild to see this on. I'm like I'm like seeing it. And I'm like, this is like, where is this happening? Like I don't see, you know. So
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that you know, like that there's so much upheaval now with the third wave lockdown, stay-at-home order. Like it's really seeming chaotic, and you know, even in Barrie, Pete, which is, by the way, I'm moving to Barrie. We'll talk about that in a few seconds. But you know, we look at the protests that have been happening. Like even for a town Barrie size, 300 plus people. That is a pretty sizable protest that they had on Friday. And, you know, the police are now, they find the leader or the ringleader or whoever it was that was there leading the protest. But, I mean, we're getting to the point where they're finding people. And it seems like, wow, okay. And listen, I understand certain frustrations and I understand, you know, the business community, the open up, lockdown, restaurants, having food go bad in their fridges. Like there's a lot of shitty shit happening out there for businesses. But I mean, I look at these protests and I'm like, where is this all headed? Like, what's the next step for the protesters and what's the next step for the police or the government, right? I mean, it seems like either next step for either party is not a good one for the people who are kind of caught in the middle. Right. It's kind of a bummer.
There's other cities where it's like they're even bigger, right? Like these protests and everything, right? Like other cities around Southern Ontario, they just get bigger and bigger, and it's like, you're right. Like, what is it? Who knows? Who knows the next step? It's scary because, like, you know, a lot of businesses are getting fucked, and a lot of family members and loved ones are getting sick and dying. We all know a comic who just lost their dad, right? So it's you know, it is serious. So it's like, where do you grasp all this? Like one end to the other, it's a lot.
There's a no-win, man. It's what I don't know if you guys watch Star Trek, but it's a Kobayashi Maru. It's the no-win, the no-win situation, right? That all Starfleet captains have to be put in, so that, you know, to see how they react, right? Except it's real fucking life and life and death, whether it's the death of your business or your livelihood or the death of your family members, right?
Yeah, it's been tough.
On the lighter side, sorry, go ahead, Reese.
No, I was just gonna say, honestly, that's what brought me back to the GTA. It's like this COVID thing killed my entire business. It killed my livelihood. Like I was doing live events, and when I wasn't doing live events myself, I was covering other people's live events. Yeah. So literally, it's like I watched my contracts for March of last year were like, it was I had comedy shows, and then I was filming events in like 3 of the worst hit old folks homes. Mm-hmm. That's where my contracts were supposed to be, and then they just canceled. I'm reading in the news that like a whole bunch of people died in these seniors homes, and then that's it. My whole business went up. I hung on for a few months, but I ended up having to move home. Yeah. Like, it's been a tough time, man.
Yeah. And yeah, like Pete, you're, you know, married with kids, man. Like you've got, you know, you've got a family, right? You know, and that you must have a completely different experience too, right? From how things have gone over the last year.
Yeah, for sure. Like I have a day job where, you know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to keep working. And I mean, there was a time where we were off, and there are times where I have to take time off with the kids and have to balance everything too. And my wife and the same thing too. She's, you know, had to switch shifts, but I tell her all the time, we say all the time, like how fortunate we are in every aspect, because like Reese just said, there's people that are losing businesses are shutting down. There's people that are losing family members. There's people that can't see loved ones, or grandparents can't see family members. So it's tough. It's such a bizarre time, like.
We had to share with my parents that they're going to be grandparents for the first time. That's the other thing too. Like Lisa and I were having a baby, but like I just turned 40. I'm a first-time dad at 40. There's no other grandkids. Thanks, man. But the last child that was born on my dad's side of the family was my younger brother, and he's like 36.
Oh, wow.
He's 36, so there's no other kids. So, like we had all these ideas of going home for Thanksgiving, telling our parents, and just seeing my dad cry and everything at Thanksgiving dinner. None of that happened. We did it on their front porch,
Yeah.
And if there's nothing more crushing than watching my dad, cry tears of joy and happiness, but also of sadness because he can't even hug his son that's 10 feet away, right? That's
right.
That's the first world problem that I have. I mean, there's a billion other problems that are out there, right? But they're all
My sister's
heartbreaking.
getting married next week.
Really?
My sister's getting married next week in British Columbia.
Wow.
And we ended up canceling our plane tickets yesterday.
Yeah.
We canceled our plane. We're having to miss my sister's fucking wedding because of this thing.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, and these are just like the sacrifices that we can name off the top of our heads that have happened recently to us. Not like let's not go back to September or last July or whatever, right? Like, it's tough, man. But on the lighter side of protests and on the lighter side of things, I'd love to share this clip of a protest. I believe this is in Alberta. It's always fucking Alberta. It's like our Florida here in Canada. Anyways, I believe it's a church with, of course, an anti-lockdown message, or I think a fake pandemic message. But the church band got out for it with a little recorder. Fucking rock and roll.
He looks just like a cool Ninja brother.
He's like the less cool.
He's the math teacher brother that happens to also slap the recorder.
Yeah. And there's nothing else. I just thought it was funny. I just thought that it was funny. There was a protest and they were playing a fucking recorder. I mean, like, I play the bagpipes, so I'm not trying to I'm not trying to instrument shame here, but at the same time, I'm like, what the At least the bagpipes are angry. At least they're a weapon of war. The recorder, man, it's like the fucking friendly giant. Like, look up, look way up. Doo, 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 doo. Little fucking Rusty the Rooster comes out. Fucking.
Are you telling me that if you heard an army just playing recorder, you wouldn't piss yourself? If I heard an army of people just playing like I don't know, even My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, I'm gonna piss my pants.
Yeah.
Army of full-grown men just.
Yeah, that actually.
I'm dead.
Yeah, that actually would be dangerous. It'd be like something out of Lord of the Rings or something, like just a bunch of orcs playing recorders. I don't know why I thought of that as you were taking a huge toke there, Reese.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's just magic. It's magic. I'm a magician. Watch.
It came through the screen at me, blew it in my face here. Whoa, yeah.
Whoa, what is that? I don't even have anything in the room that could enhance
I
that.
can't even see Reese right now. It's so smoky in there. Wow, are you in a little
fog?
booth?
It's fog.
Right, it's fog. That's fog machine.
I'm on the west coast. I'm on the west coast. It's fog.
So I mentioned, Pete, I'm moving to Barrie. After being on the air there for 4.5 years, I'm finally going to have an address there, which is kind of nice. And
that's wicked.
Yeah, it is wicked, man. I didn't know you were living outside of the city, though. Like, how far outside are you?
I just live out in Norwell, so like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like 20 minutes away.
Oh, okay, that's
not
cool.
Far from Barrie.
Yeah, and the internet does suck out there. I got a buddy out there. He's like, yeah, we don't watch Netflix. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't watch Netflix? No. He's like, no, internet sucks too bad out here. And I'm like, what?
It's wild, man, to think that like you move 5 minutes from town, maybe even closer, less than that. Like you could be a kilometer from any town in southern Ontario, and like, oh, by the way, you bought your house. You don't have internet though there, so it's like you check, like if you ask your realtor, you're like, so there's internet, right? And they're like, yeah, there's internet. And then you get it, and then you do speed test. And you're like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to watch. You can watch like on the internet we used to have. we could watch it, but there'd be issues. But I actually recently got that internet that Elon Musk is putting out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's why if it's way better. Like I find that the internet, I don't know what it's like on Zoom and stuff, but I find in general it's a lot better. Mm-hmm. Way faster speeds, and I'm not trying to make a commercial for it or anything like that, but
that's fine.
We're way happier with it than the country internet that we're used to. But you'll be in the city. Barrie is civilized. Reese, in case you didn't know that, there's actually a city of Barrie. There's
my uncle lives in Brecken. Okay, my uncle lives.
Oh yeah,
in
okay.
Yeah, so anyways, yeah,
I've been through.
I've been through. So I'm moving up to Barrie. I'm moving in town though. We're gonna have a place in town. But I just wanted to ask Pete, like, you basically, I mean, you grew up in Belleville, but you've been in Barrie a long time, right?
Oh yeah, I've been in Barrie for like 25 years.
Okay, is it like okay to have a family there? Because because man,
where are you moving? Which corner of town? You don't just need to say exactly.
Like we're like Ann and Edge Hill.
Oh no.
Oh no, really?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
Oh, it seems nice. Yeah, it seems nice enough.
Yeah,
I vetted it.
There's a lot of the thing with Barrie is that there's a lot of nice neighborhoods tucked in between everywhere, and there's a lot of. It's just like any city. You grew up in Kingston, so you know.
Jail
there's
city.
Nice parts of Kingston, and there's kind of whatever parts of Kingston.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Because that's how I pitched it to my wife. I'm like, no, this is a nice little patch here. Just don't go to the other side of Dunlop. Just don't go down to Dunlop and High Street.
There's some sketchy parts. Okay, but you're not really going to be down there, right?
No, we're going to be just hanging at the house, man, with a new baby. That's the idea, right? But I ask because, for the 4.5 years that I've been on the air there, I've reported on the most ridiculous fucking crime. Like, I don't know. Like, this week, man, the same Circle K corner store was robbed twice within 11 days. And I was like, is it okay? I don't know. Is this a good idea?
I don't know. I think it'll be all right. It's like any city where there's some scummy stuff, but if you're rocking around with the family, you'll be good. There's
okay. As long as you don't stick your nose where it's not supposed to be.
Yeah,
you're fine.
Right? Like when I used to live in the South End, like the guy next door to me had like two dudes bust. Their garage door was always open, and they had a door going into their house, and two guys like busted in, one with a machete, and then like it was like this is like right next door to our house, and my wife was at home. I was working nights then, and it was like fucking wild.
You're not helping. You're not helping, Pete.
Money,
you're not helping.
Like who knows?
You're not fucking helping. All right, that's funny though. Somebody stole a gazebo. That was my first week on the air in Barrie 4 years ago. Somebody stole a fucking gazebo out of the Walmart parking lot, and I'm like, all right, I like this town. But yeah, there's been some other ones that aren't so flattering. Okay, guys, so I teased this off the top. Jeff Woods, who has been an alumnus on this podcast. If you want to scroll back, there's a great chat. We chat for about an hour about just music, rock and roll. He schools me on Black Sabbath because I made a flippant remark, and he's like, no, Black Sabbath is serious. Don't talk like that about Black Sabbath. Anyways, he's got personal relationships with all sorts of famous musicians, and he's been best known as an orator of music, but now he's taken on a new a new verbal, should I say, or a new project. And I'm happy to talk with him about it. We've teased this on previous episodes. Please check out my chat with Jeff Woods. Now with OnlyFans, you can subscribe to him for Jeff Woods' bedtime stories. Oh, my button's not working, you guys. Hang on. I don't know why it doesn't like Jeff Woods' bedtime stories. Give me a moment here, everyone. I can fix this.
It's flustering. It's flustering. Though,
I know.
Gene.
It's all right. It's hard when you're live. All right, here's Jeff Woods. Jeff Woods, no stranger to the podcast, but also a celebrated author, podcaster, Records and Rockstars. The podcast is out there, as well as syndicated on radio stations across Canada. And now you've expanded your oeuvre, shall we say, Jeff? Maybe I'll let you do the talking as to exactly what you're up to right now.
Kris, thanks for having me back on. Yeah, oeuvre. That's good. That's communication right there. That's above and beyond. Thank you.
Yeah.
So years now, people have been saying, "Why don't you read dirty stories?" For lack of a better, erotica, really. And I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. And finally, I thought it's time to do that. So I've launched my OnlyFans, as you know, Jeff Woods Bedtime Stories. And I started out by pretending that I was writing in a pseudonym. The first story was by Aiden Black, which is me. Because, listen, I've never been ashamed, felt badly from a moral standpoint about the erotic. The erotic is an antidote to death, is the stories of the trial. So you can get in and check out the 2 20-minute stories I've already uploaded and see if you like them. And if you like them, I mean, I do one a week. And for $7 a month, you get access to you know.
It's just a shade cheaper than Spotify, Jeff. That's well priced.
Right?
Well priced.
At an hour and a half of filth for bedtime before you go.
Fans now has unsubscribed from the Calm app. I don't know what to think about that, but
who knows?
A good night's sleep's a good night's sleep, I guess. Happy wife, happy life.
Well put. Some people think of it as a marital aid, as it were. Particularly, not for you guys, but for people that have been together a long things together as couples. I know, just listen. Just the lights.
Everyone knows it.
Well, I was pretending I was reading the stories by another author.
Oh, I see.
Let's face it. They're fiction. They're fiction.
Oh, are they? Because that was what I was. Are these based on life experience? Because I think of The Last Narrator to a version of that.
A little truth, they say. Generally.
It's up to the listener to discern which of those is which, and that's part of the fun, I think, is the guessing game. Even
the filth is in the ears of the beholder, as it were.
All right, gentlemen, your thoughts? Do you want to hear some samples of Jeff Woods' erotica, or what?
Listen, I would pay to hear that man read me city menus, okay?
There has been much made of that man's voice here on the podcast. Guest after guest, when they hear that he's been on, they're like, oh man, his voice. Everyone I know, men, women, everybody can't get enough of it. So
Great voice.
here is a sample of Jeff Woods' bedtime stories. He sent me some that I can play, and then some just for my own personal keepsakes. No joke. He says, not for air, but I can have them in my iTunes, just so, at a dinner party, I can put it on shuffle and they can just show up. Yes. All right, here's one clip right now.
For her, people prodded and pried, asking, when are you going to get laid? Pushing her to see this one or that, suggesting she have fun and find a friend with benefits. Still, she took matters of lust and longing into her own hands. She'd heard people admonish porn, but she reveled in the sounds of others giving and taking and making one another feel as they fucked. It stimulated her growing imagination.
And let me tell you, these are the PG-13 clips, because there are some where I've never heard. I won't play the clip, but I'll tell you, I've never heard of somebody refer to a female G-spot as the peach pit or the nectarine pit. And listen, this guy is writing his own material too. Like, that's the other thing that I'm also super appreciative of, is that
who his voice really reminds me of? What's his name? Gene Shepherd, is that his name, from Christmas Story?
Wow. Yeah.
He would be a great narrator for the new series of those, except without like all the fucking and sucking talk. More of like the Santa and Christmas spirit talk,
right?
Red Ryder BB.
Well, David Attenborough has to retire at some point. He's getting quite aged. Maybe Jeff Woods could be the replacement, right?
That's borderline.
All right.
That's like with animals, like narrating like the mating season of
and the rhinoceros penetrated the eagle
and ate its peach pit.
Oh god.
All right, here's one more from the allowed to play files.
He lifted his head to meet her mouth. They kissed, lightly at first and intuitively. Their tongues met and danced and dove and felt as though they were fucking one another with their mouths. Suddenly, at the same time, they pulled back from one another just a bit and smiled. This was bigger an event than either of them had actually imagined. They sighed at the same time and laughed at the synchronicity of that and of their desire. Then his hand slid softly between her thighs, and he felt the puddle that her underwear couldn't contain.
Amazing.
Yeah,
This guy, like, he's the only one doing this, right?
To my knowledge, he is breaking ground. He is becoming like I said in the interview with him, Red Shoe Diaries, man. Nobody's done this since David Duchovny on Red Shoe Diaries, being the orator, being the storyteller of erotica. Maybe also, I believe at one point Snoop Dogg also might have narrated a porno like very early on.
I think he produced one years ago.
Yeah, that was it. But he had like the intro. He came out like, yo, and he did like a thing, but he wasn't in it per se.
No. That's, I mean, good on this guy. Like, that's like lemons. That's like a lot of lemonade from like this lemon that we're dealing with right now, right? That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's the smartest thing. Like, that's fucking nuts. It's nuts. Good on him.
Yeah, 100%. Credit to Jeff. And again, he already makes a lot of good coin off of that voice of his. He voices commercials. He does radio. He does podcasts. He does everything. But like, imagine adding one more chip onto the roulette table of things, right? Like, oh man. You know, like, talk about using your gifts as well. Ron Jeremy, he found a way to use his gifts. Jeff Woods using his gifts as well.
Who's his fan base? Is it more men than women or couples, or like, does he know? Like, he must have those statistics.
I don't know, but I'm sure he has a breakdown. But I believe, like, basically my father-in-law Brad is probably his number one listener, right? Like, the guy who
he nuts to him all the time, man. Brad.
No, but when he's telling stories about on tour with Ozzy Osbourne and stuff, you know.
Yeah, true.
But like, you know, Brad's got like an Iron Maiden T-shirt. That's all he wanted for his birthday a few weeks ago. I just want a new Iron Maiden T-shirt, and fucking right, he got one. He's just a good lad. But that would be, I think, Jeff's primary sort of regular audience. I think he's trying to branch out maybe because. I don't know. Do you think that's a unisex? Like, doing that is a unisex thing, or do you think that that's a more females?
I don't know.
Couples?
I think that's for ladies to like do that thing from Howard Stern Private Parts.
Yeah.
And put the subwoofer on really high.
Yeah.
That's what that's for, you know, like that, you know.
Well,
get that voice.
Jeff, when he was building his studio, he had a bunch of stuff delivered to our house here because he lives way up like Blue Mountains, but for some reason IKEA it was cheaper or something for him delivered to here in Newmarket, right? So I said, yeah, sure. So he delivered all of the shelving and stuff for his studio. So he came to pick it up, and I get a text like, just pulling up into your driveway now, and I was like, oh, nice, cool. And then I said, hey, honey, yeah, Jeff Woods is here. I'm just gonna go out in the front porch and meet him. And she's like, Jeff Woods is here? Jeff is here? Oh my God. Can I? And she's like, I want to come out and meet him. And I'm like, no, you fucking stay in the house. You fucking stay in the house. That voice, man.
When he called you, he wasn't like, I'm pulling up to your back door. Kris, it's me. I'm knocking.
Well, there was this time that we stayed in a hotel together when we judged the Battle of Bands. So, you know.
Nice.
But that's, you know, what happens in Blue Mountain stays in Blue Mountain sometimes. I can't wait to hang with you guys again. You're welcome back on the podcast anytime. We're going to wrap it up for the evening, but thanks for hanging, guys. It's been a good chat, going through some dank clips and of course experiencing the Jeff Woods of it all together. Reese Turner, do you still have some more of those Canada Pot t-shirts, Reese? Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I got the Canada Pot t-shirts. I got everything. I got the wrestling podcast going, Canada Pot. I got it all, baby.
Yeah, so
posters.
Plug your podcast too, man. You've got 2 on the go, right?
Okay. Yeah. I'm on Casey Corbin's Talkin' Wrestling. Nice. I'm his co-host there now, so I do that with him. And every Friday night, I do a Stoner live stream sesh. It's called the Late Night Sesh at 10 o'clock, and I have all different guests. I've got musicians, I've got animal handlers, I've got comedians, I've got actors. It's like a late night show, but for potheads. It's a lot of fun. We even have a segment where we stare at the fridge for 2 minutes. It's great.
Yeah, I've been there, man. That's that's college dorm room is what it is, man. And I like that you're doing the wrestling thing with Casey. That's cool. I've only met him once or twice, but he's a good dude. And I've never under fucking stood wrestling though. That's the other thing. And everyone I hang out with loves wrestling.
And it was just Wrestling Shark Week last week.
I know.
WrestleMania.
I know. It's all I could see in my fucking Facebook timeline the other night was WrestleMania. I'm just like, oh God.
Beautiful.
And Pete Smith.
Honestly, it's the best.
Yeah, Pete Smith, thank you for being on tonight, man. Great seeing your face, man. It's been so long. And
Thanks for having me.
That's the other thing that I'm so stoked to move to Barrie for, other than the fact that the Circle K has been held up around the corner from my new place like twice in 11 days. But anyways, yeah, but I'm excited to reconnect with everybody in the Barrie comedy scene. And by the time we're settled in there and getting into our routine, and hopefully the pandemic will be over and we'll have some comedy again, and we can get up and fucking tell some jokes together again, dude.
Yeah, man, yeah.
You know, and that was the one thing that really sucked about being here in Newmarket and basically having my entire social branch of network, everybody in Barrie. It was a total burnout because it's an hour fucking drive, dude. It was terrible.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to building on those friendships even more when I get there. So thanks, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I don't have as much to plug as Reese. Do
you have a big graphic design project due next week, or?
Yeah, no, I'm just making butter tarts and pizza, so that's about it.
Fucking right, man. Yeah. Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to be off as a new dad as well. I'll be Mr. Butter Tarts and Pizza. You know?
Absolutely. Congratulations in the next couple of days here. Hope everything goes well.